Okay, everyone. Another three-headed monster podcast coming at you, live from Philly and live from
South Carolina.
Carolina. Carolina. What's going on,
North
Jerome? What's
Carolina.
good? What's good, man? What's good, man? We're gonna try.
Everything's good, man. Look forward to another good show.
Yeah, we're gonna try to educate everyone. Hopefully, we give everybody again. We need to break down. A lot of people don't understand our show. Our show is basically our opinions. We're just talking. It's kind of like barbershop talk. Like a bunch of fellas just like conversating about what we got to do. I know a lot of times we get off point, but at the same time we getting off point. But at the same time, what points we are making is valid to anything that we're talking about. So we just tried our best to bring whatever knowledge we can. Follow us as best you can. If you comment on it, then you'll keep us going because we can kind of get deep into this. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we don't want to go too deep because we lose people's attention, but at the same time, we try to do what we can, and we're all about building. If people want to come on our show, come on the podcast and talk and build, that's it. It's not just hit three. Go back, clear it. Three. So I'm sorry, y'all. My daughter here, she's using the microwave. So, but at the same time, that's what we're trying to do. Let's build. Um, we see what they're doing by trying to take a lot of our history out of the history books that they're going to be teaching. So let's not, let's not let that happen because it gets to a point that we have to be our own gatekeepers to our own children and the knowledge that we bring forth to them because they're going to teach them something like what we've been taught all our lives. Basically, I know me going through high school, I know Jerome going through high school, everything that they taught us about history was actually a lie. So, no further ado, I got my good points out. Let Jerome get his good points out.
What's up, Facebook family, YouTube family? Hope everybody's well. Um, if you're coming to us from YouTube, please hit the like button as well as on. You can like, love, or have whatever opinion you want on Facebook. Um, but please hit the like button on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so that when we having this uh, barbershop talk, that you will be notified. Um, as always, everything that we say is strictly our opinions. Um, please don't believe anything that we tell you. Whatever you hear, take it for yourself. Go research it. Go find what you feel is truth. Come back. Let's politic about it. Let's build and let's go forward. Without further ado, what's up, D?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? We gonna try to do something because I know next week a lot of people are gonna be celebrating um, something that actually I have mixed feelings about, but at the same time, we're gonna bring to you what we're talking about when what we do. You don't need to put no salt on that, girl.
What you chef tail now?
We're gonna talk about the Proclamation.
Emancipation Proclamation.
Emancipation
Juneteenth.
Proclamation, and then we talk about Juneteenth, because one leads up to the other. So let's go to the fun facts that we have. Which one are we gonna start off with first? Let's break down the
Emancipation
meaning.
Proclamation, right?
Let's break down the meaning of these words. Emancipation is to set free. It's a French word. Actually, it's a Latin word, which is to set free. So if that means set free, and proclamation is a public or official announcement, especially one dealing with matters of great importance. Huh.
Go back to emancipation. the word.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting if you look at the back part of that. It says in modern use, it's especially used for freeing a minor from a parent's control. And I think that gives a lot on the viewpoint of how they viewed um, those who they had enslaved uh, as people that didn't have the ability to live on their own. I think to emancipate, like emancipating a child. That's why I think minority and that word has stuck with us so long. A minor is one that can't go into a legal contract for himself and has to be taken care of. As that becomes a ward, um, and minorities are a group of minors. That that's just how I see it. But not stopping you. Go ahead with the Emancipation Proclamation, my brother. You muted. You muted. You're muted.
All right. Back to the regular program. All right.
Right.
So this is September. Emancipation Proclamation. I'm sorry. I'm butchering that. I'm gonna butcher this. So President Lincoln, put this out. September the 22nd, 1862. Grant freedom to slaves. He didn't say African American slaves. Slaves. So some
Correct.
people need to understand that, you know, it was people of non-color that was also slaves too, especially in the South. You got to understand the whole how South, and you got to understand why the word race and color came into play because there was another division of separation. But let's stay on topic, saying that if the states do not return to the union. So he's basically telling them is, yo, we're gonna quit this fight and y'all need to come on back home to us. But then you got to understand our country is split at this time. In addition, under this proclamation, freedom will only come to slaves if the Union wins the war. So basically, the proclamation, this basically September the 22nd, 1862, the proclamation was issued by the President of the United States. Basically, a
Right.
executive order which says on January 1st, the year of our Lord. I don't know why they have to put that in there, but a lot of people got to understand this is a very Christian type country. Fact that all person held as a slave within any of the states designated part of a state, people who whereof shall be in a rebellion against the United States shall then be therefore or forever freed. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and the naval authority, for some reason, it's kind of funny how that is separated. Recognize remaining such people do not act as to oppress. So basically, he's ending slavery.
Right.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, um, now when you said that, like, go back to it, the Emancipation Proclamation where you had it. Uh, During that time, it says, the states would free these slaves. There's a caveat or a reason to why uh, they had to win the war. Is because if you think about it, at this time, the South had seceded
mhm.
from from the North, so they wasn't a part of the United States anyway.
So we're
They
looking
had
at
become,
the Civil War. We're
yeah,
looking at this
they had,
during the Civil War.
right. So that the Emancipation Proclamation didn't mean anything to the states in the South because they were not part of the Union anymore.
True that. True
So
that.
so that's why they had to win the war. For this proclamation right here was really for people that lived in the South.
North.
You can end slavery in the North and
Mhm.
not have anything to do with the South, but they wanted the people of the South to have something to fight for or something that uh, would cause them to turn, the tables on the South.
So they use that as a political ploy.
Of course, of course, because like I said, the South had already seceded. They was not a part of the United States.
But the thing that interests me is when I go to Wikipedia and it goes on January the 1st, 1863, the proclamation changed the legal status under federal law of more than 3.5 million enslaved African Americans.
Right,
Seriously, seriously. Is it for some reason it only points at African Americans, basically indigenous people, some from Africa, a lot that was already here in America.
right. A few from Africa.
Few. My bad. My bad. Um,
Because listen to what this is it's the numbers. I love numbers, right?
uh,
So it's
breakdown.
this.
Breakdown.
They say 3.5 million as they classify African Americans were freed. So we're talking about in 1865 or 1863 at the time it was written. So if you look at present day populations, our present day population is around 55, 60 million, uh, what they call African Americans, correct?
That
So
is
you're
true.
telling me that you ended slavery. So that means you stopped transporting black people from Africa to the United States. And there was 3.5 million of these slaves. But
Mm.
over a period of 150 years, they went from 3.5 million to almost 60 million without bringing people over. So how did these numbers grow so fast? And they always tell you you're only 10% of the population. So you're telling me we had population growth of 3.5 million to almost 60 million and
Mm-hmm.
stayed at 10% the whole time?
13%.
13%.
The
So tell
numbers
me
ain't right. Them
so tell
numbers
me how
ain't
the
right.
math works. Or was it a lot of black people here and there was only a few of them that were enslaved?
Mm. Mm. Because we covered the Trail of Tears. We
Yeah,
covered the Indian Removal Act,
right.
which is 1835, which is your Trail of Tears, which is, within a 10-year span, majority of Cherokee. A lot of people need to understand when it comes to Cherokee Nation is a group of different tribes of Indians that was put together that literally kind of joined forces to become westernized, you can sort of say. So, in a sense, I mean, because they was able to speak English and stuff like that, so they formed their own union. So they moved them out of Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina. They moved them into what we talked about we have talking about Oklahoma, we talk about Tulsa, and we it's a lot of factors into this because we're gonna have to cover it was a lot of wars that was going on also during this whole time frame. So we talk about the Civil War, but nobody talks about the Spanish Indian War. Nobody talks about the war that was going on in Mexico when Mexico seceded from the Spanish colonists. Um, it's a lot that's going on. A lot
Yes,
of
I know
fighting.
it's extremely extreme amount of parts that's moving. Um, you let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So where you're from in Gaffney, South Carolina,
Yep.
uh, do you see a lot of what they call Native Americans?
No, I see a lot of us.
You see a
I
lot of
am.
you,
I see a
right?
lot of us. But the
Okay.
thing.
Let me
Go
ask the
ahead.
questions here,
My
sir.
bad. Go ahead.
So
My bad. My bad. My
so
bad.
y'all mascot is what?
Indian.
It's Indians.
Mhm.
What county are you in?
Cherokee.
Cherokee.
Hmm.
And it's but you don't see any what you call Native Americans.
Now
What
what they
they
show,
call Native
what
Americans,
is
right?
yeah, now what they show on TV now.
And the nickname of the place that y'all at is the reservation. Am I correct?
That is yes, 16 state championships. I feel like I need to throw that in that throw
Right,
that
right.
into
No,
football.
we repping your place. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely
so
in
but
the
all
state.
this is going on, but you
Mhm.
never see what they call an Indian. But I certainly been through that, and all I see is a lot of dark faces. And
I
so, how
mean,
does these names stick? And we don't seem to understand who we are. No, we don't, and that's why, um, with the Emancipation Proclamation, like I said, those numbers they're so small of numbers. So what I'm thinking, is that those that were captured, those were prisoners of war. Those were the ones that were held in captivity. That's why all those revolutions that you were talking about and all these uprisings are to free those prisoners of war. You know, and that's what was happening in America. America was in turmoil.
but it was also doing a lot of stealing. They were stealing a lot of land.
A lot of
They was
land, right?
stealing a lot of our native people, indigenous land from our people, and and you got to understand they're not going to let that go without a fight. What's going on, Alex? Um,
Alex,
but this is something that really that it studying this history makes you open your mind and make you see things in a totally different mindset. It makes you wonder this flag that we represent is dirty and it's a lot of blood, a lot of indigenous blood that's on this flag. So we give Lincoln a lot of credit for something that he used as a political ploy to try to get people to turn against, the Confederates. Like you're saying, if you tell somebody who's been enslaved, not saying enslaved, what's the word? What's the word?
uh, prisoner of war,
You can say prisoner of war, but it's no, it's kind of like if somebody constantly have a stronghold over you and then you have an opportunity to uprise.
right?
He tried to get us to flip against the Confederates because nobody understand what the hell this war was about. Everybody's saying it's because he freed slaves. No, 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 because you got to understand the war was already going on before you brought this brought this proclamation up to whatever you want to say it is. So he knew they was not going to give up free labor. So you have to look at this whole fact is why did he do this? And that's the question
Like,
I've been searching for, and I can't
yeah,
really get
yeah, yeah.
the
Listen,
answer to
listen.
make me feel. But give me an answer.
I got you. I
Tell
got
me.
you. And
Yeah.
it's that if you go back to listen what I first said at the very beginning, that the South had already seceded.
Mm-hmm.
So the Emancipation Proclamation, it really done nothing for the North because all you had to do was free slaves and they'd have been free. But
Mm-hmm.
this paper, this Emancipation Proclamation, was those who are in the South to hear about it, to use it as, hey, if we just turn the war the other way, then we'll be part of the Union again and we'll be free. So it was really for those in the South that were still under the oppressor, if you will, under the oppression of the South's rule. Because, like I said, it what it probably spurred more revolts and and the killing of people when they was in their sleeps. You know, So it was a paper to help the South turn on itself, if you will.
And a lot of people need to go study Lincoln because Lincoln said out of his own mouth, "I'm don't." He really don't even care about. He was his whole purpose and his whole intent was not to free slaves. He didn't care about slavery. For somebody who
I,
fought, he fought for it, but then at the same time, we became. I guess when you become president, president, a lot of stuff that you say, you just have to just play the game. You have
I,
to play the game. No, R-
I'm
Brown.
not
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really say what he was for without any substantiation. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Hold
My
on.
opinion. My opinion. How about that? My opinion. He didn't give a fuck about slavery. But go ahead. Oh shit! You're gonna jump off screen in the middle? But I mean, again, I'm only. I can't say, Alex. I can't say that he hate people. Alex put up. Let me post what he just said. Alex said that he hated people of color. He can't really hate something that he's a part of. I can't say he hate because no, because he was a lawyer and he represented a lot of people that was free up north. So I can't really. He just played a political game.
He played a political game, but like I said, it's hard to say what one hates and what one likes. You got to
Mm-hmm.
have the facts that's before you. We know he said some things that we'd have to pull up, to show that this is, actually said. But I
Say
don't think
one hate
anybody.
what one likes. You gotta have the facts just before
Oh, what
you
you
know.
got? Turn your volume down.
No, I'm my bad. I'm messing around. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, I'm trying to pull up some stuff. I'm trying to pull up some stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say,
No,
turn
because
your
I'm trying to understand what to put in to try to get everybody to understand Lincoln's thought process when it came to.
right.
But keep talking. Let me do my
But
research.
no, you gotta think at this time that they took over when the
Mhm.
uh, when the colonizers took over what we call America now.
Mhm.
You have to keep a mindset. You can't let the indigenous people ever know that they can be equal or know that they can was on the same footing as you. Because if you do, then you will lose the control of the land. And the land is the most important thing because that's where all the resources are. The resources are in the land. So I was trying to read what Alex
Oh, I'm
was
gonna
saying.
find it. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, but and like I said, it may be true because like I said, the whole government structure is to keep indigenous people, black people from understanding who they are. We could do a show on the Smithsonian. It was created for that purpose. Uh, Everything that's found in America, once you dig deep enough, is black. And so they take over that and they shut it down and they lock it away in the Smithsonian. You still looking?
Yeah, I got something, but I don't know what it is. I got to keep it going. Let's see what Alex said. Alex jumping on trying. Alex, you need to jump on this show one day, man. Stop playing around, man. Get off that broadband internet service you got, man. Come on. We do everything wireless, but I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. I
He
don't know if you
dialed.
do or not. He said whatever I read, he didn't want black men to succeed. That is true. Actually, it's kind of like the view and distance that are physical between. All right, let's pull this up. Let's pull
But
this up.
you gotta think about it from the standpoint you mentioned race earlier, right? So race is this creation in the 1800s where they
16. See, no, we're going back to even 15. No, we 1600. Race.
uh, no, I'm talking about the invention of race as far as
Mhm.
separating the classes.
Okay.
It's a
Classic.
like, yeah, like separate the classes. This is in the 1800s. So when Lincoln, if he considered himself white, even if we know his background was mixed, there's a lot of people that blend in to being called white so that they can get the benefits of being white, right? So what
Hmm.
Lincoln is talking about, you don't want the black man equal to a white man because then you lose privilege. If everybody's equal, nobody has privilege. And so we'll let them free, but we're not forcing labor. But we're not going to allow them to be on the same level as us. And that's today. I mean, that's what classism is. Um,
Yes,
you know,
yes. So he put this, thing out. The West, I mean, the North won, the Union won. These countries come back to the Union. He drops the 14th Amendment in 1865. The 14th
right.
Amendment basically freeing all slaves. That's why I was telling y'all that Emancipation Proclamation didn't free slaves. This 14th Amendment, it was just an executive order.
Well, like the 13th
14th
Amendment,
Amendment
the
joined
13th
the. Well,
is
I take that.
sort
I
of
take that back. He freed slaves, but for us to become citizens,
right
to be part of
of the
this
United States.
this shit we are in right now. 14th Amendment was put in place. Now, everybody have to understand that there is no internet, no TVs, no 6 o'clock news, no newspapers that can travel this far. So basically, I don't even know if the telegram probably was put out there, but I don't think you're gonna telegraph a whole fucking speech that he put out there. So everything is word of mouth. So understanding this whole Texas, I'm gonna break down Texas because if everybody need to understand, Texas basically is Mexico. We used to be Mexico. It was stolen. Shady deal, but that's a whole nother president. No, actually, that's the president before Lincoln. So Lincoln saw this happening. So I think it was two presidents, or either the president before Lincoln, that literally found the way to take Texas. And when he took Texas, he went all the way straight to California. But that's a whole different story, a whole different segment, a whole different, history that a lot of people don't want. Like the whole Alamo thing, it ain't
Right.
what I think it is, man. So,
It's never what you think it is.
so now we come to this particular. So so he freed slaves, and I guess when was that? So 18. So we
1860.
were 63. So
Right.
1863, he freed slaves, or slavery is abolished in the United States.
Right.
I think they already had stopped bringing in slaves from Africa. You wasn't bringing in that many anyway. It ain't no 15 million. I can't even say it was a million.
Yeah.
Give a
I
quarter
mean,
of a million. I give you a
if,
quarter.
so think
You
about it from this perspective. So uh, when the slave trade really picked up was like 1700s, uh,
when the cotton gin.
1800s. You got to think that by 1830, the English or England had abolished slavery. So slavery was ended as far as the transportation and everything by 1830.
And they was patrolling them seas to stop a lot of people from doing it.
Exactly.
So
So
basically,
these
you're not
numbers that they keep throwing out there just don't make sense.
true. True. So now we looking at what a lot of people are celebrating. Oh, I got to bring it up. Da 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 da. Juneteenth. And why do we celebrate Juneteenth? Is because this is again, everybody have to understand the whole situation of Texas. and how far and how deep Texas is. Texas is one of the biggest states in the United States. Texas is like four South Carolinas in one. So it took all the way to June. I basically almost took 2 years. So we're looking at June 19th. They say Juneteenth because they can't really give you a day or when it happened, but it was within, the teens that I got to find it. It's a general that came there to this particular town
Oh
and
yeah.
to
God, I had his name.
damn, I had his name too. I forgot actually.
Um, but yeah, when he went down to Texas,
Mhm.
now he was actually June 19th that day. But you got
Yeah,
to think that it was still word of mouth. It was still moving around.
yeah. People was
That's
hearing it.
Yeah, so that's why they say team. You heard it around that time.
So he comes to Texas, which is one of the last states, and tells everybody you're free.
Right.
Now, slave owners ain't happy about that. Now we have to understand what these black laws come into play. We have to understand Jim Crow comes into the picture. In other words, you have a lot of pissed off slave owners or business owners.
Former
So,
slave owners. Yeah.
and they
Um,
ain't happy.
and it's interesting too. It had to be like the 14th Amendment for it to be finally where black people were citizens had to be ratified in every state. Mississippi was actually the last state
Hell,
to ratify.
sorry.
Are you fine? Mississippi was actually the last state to ratify it. Where people, were free and citizen. But I mean, it's just interesting at the time or the times of the 1800s, 1860s. Those slave owners that were upset about giving up human beings as property
Hmm.
raised so much stink that they actually got reparations for the bodies that they lost.
Fuckers.
And we can't get reparations for being the actual slaves.
I know, and then it's funny. It's kind of funny. Oh, they say we gave you a reservation. We gave you, we gave you a reservation, so you put your casinos and stuff on. So
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about that? It's only the $5 Indians or these white
fuckers.
that benefit from it. They're the ones that benefit from it.
I
It's
mean,
not
and
even
that's
the indigenous.
I mean, and this is one of the one things that Trump did say that I was like, oh, I kind of understand what he's talking about. The ones that y'all say are Indians, they sure don't look like Indians to me. And if you go up there, they sure don't look like Indians. So,
He was
but
talking
at
about
the same, he was talking
Massachusetts.
about Massachusetts. Massachusetts. So we have Juneteenth. We have this celebration. Tell me, when did you ever find out about Juneteenth? When did you first hear about it?
When did I first hear about it? I heard about it years ago. I was probably 18, 17, 18 years old.
Damn, dude, you're like almost 89 years old. So
Whoa, son. It's been a long time. I've known about a long time.
actually, I didn't hear about it until I came to Philly. I never heard of it
Okay.
before, and if I did hear it, I'm like, so what? Because I wasn't in that that freedom mindset when it came to that.
Right.
So education wise, where would you hear the teaching of this at? Because they're not going to teach you, because you have to make a fake narrative to understand what truly slavery is. Because I understand slavery wasn't being taught in schools until like what 1980,
Right.
and now they're trying to remove it. They put it in place for us to downplay us and make us look less than who we are. And then once you get fully educated and you get, how they say, woke,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden they want to take it away because this is This is what is this? What's the word? What's the word? Hey, what's the word I was talking about when they was talking about they trying to take certain bad parts of history in the United States? Is it critical thinking? No, critical history? No,
Yeah, critical history.
critical history. Okay,
Yeah,
my bad.
critical history.
Sorry, my assistant had to help me out there. Uh, so we have to. They trying to take that out because they was like, well, I don't want to teach my kids. I don't want my kids to hear about being racist in this country or showing, hey, you know, what is wrong with you? You messing with me while I'm doing my podcast. But no, basically, I know now my other daughter is here messing with me. Boy, I tell you what, these girls is driving me crazy. Uh, so basically, they trying to take away history that they put in place. They want to show you because think about it. Why did I take that back? Alice Haiti put out, what's that damn? What Alex Haiti put out? What was that?
Roots.
I
Roots.
actually never really watched it because I don't think my patience is enough to watch it. But he put that out there, and all of a sudden, everybody was like, What is this? What is this slavery notion that you put out there?" So
Hey,
he kind of pushed an agenda, and I think actually he did win because now everybody thinking, when it comes to the history of blacks here in America, it starts with slavery,
right.
right? What the hell? So
You know
I
what's
have.
what's interesting about that? If you look at Roots, there's a part on. I hadn't seen it in I don't know how many years, but I remember this part clearly. But Fiddler, I guess that would be like Steven from Django, was out there. Yeah, right. And is it Fiddler? Yeah, yeah, it's Fiddler. And when Kunta Kinte is brought there, he's an actual African, right? Well, he tells the other blacks, he said, "Now look at this." He said, "This here's a Guinea man." He said, "Yeah, I know y'all ain't seen nothing like this." Talking about him being from Africa. So
Mm,
how is he differentiating a Guinea man or a black man from Africa than all the other blacks? You see what I'm saying? So I thought that that part of the movie or that part of the show was real interesting. I hadn't seen it in years, but it shows you there's
I'm
a
not going to
difference.
see it.
These black people were here. This African was brought.
You see that? What happened?
Yeah, I mean, no, no,
Oh, I thought
I
you.
thought you were saying something.
No, no,
No, I
no,
didn't.
no,
I'm
no.
still here. It's a live
It's
show. You
it's
know how we do.
it's my background noise.
Oh, you fine. I had to mute myself every now and then.
But at the same time, like you said, nobody pay no attention to it because why? Because we're not. We looking at it as a movie and understanding. Sometimes they be putting stuff, they be teaching you stuff, and you just don't be paying no attention to it. Or it's kind of like how my man Marvin, Wayne's be like message, and
Right.
you don't hear it because we so intrigued about we're learning something that pretty much kind of happened but didn't really happen. Like I
You
said,
said it happened, but it really didn't happen. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
when it comes to these 15 million people. So we hear Juneteenth come into play and people is talking, everybody's celebrating, we're free, we're free, we're free. And then my notion is from what?
Right.
From what?
I think we've talked about that on the show, the notion of what freedom really is. But I think because most of us, and I say most of us, and I'm generalizing, uh, stay so oppressed that any bit of of leverage or any bit of liberty, we think it's freedom. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, now we can do this, so now we can do that. But you don't see the overall picture of how you're being oppressed. You don't have any, understanding of the control that's being placed upon you. And it's man, just like this last year and a half of experiment that's been placed upon the people. You still at B. You're muted.
Oh shit, my muted. I'm thinking my internet getting ready to go out again.
Yeah,
You know they be doing that. It's all of a sudden like we get on live and all of a sudden boom, my internet just shuts down and all of a sudden. But
right.
we like you said, it's been a project. If I could tell you not to come out your house, if I can tell you you have to wear a mask all the time, if I can control you, it's no different. But when I'm saying what are we free from? Why are we marching talking about Black Lives Matter in 2021 if we were free
2021.
if we were
You gotta
free
tell somebody
since
that.
1865?
Well, even the matter of being free, who they didn't free you. You know what I'm saying? They just stopped putting chains on you. They stop abusing you publicly. You've all been free. You know, it's just a matter
What
of
is
somebody trying
what
to
is freedom
keep it.
in your mind? What is freedom in your mind?
What is freedom in my mind? It's the ability
Yeah,
to,
because I know we did have a show, but this was,
yeah,
dude, this is like some years ago because
right.
freedom and liberties are two different things.
Two different things. I mean, simple place. Liberties are things that you are allowed to do.
Uh-huh.
Freedom, is what you choose to do. And when I say choose to do it, you do it without feeling of repercussions. You're your own person. You know, if that's what you feel free to do, that's what you do. Um, but we're always bound by something. We have this we're bound. But freedom is the ability to think about it. You don't have to
No,
go to
no,
work no
because
more.
everybody said it was home of the.
Home of the brand of the free.
But you're not free from nothing. You ain't free to
You
do whatever
can
you
be.
want to do.
You can be. You can do whatever you want, but you
It's
subject to the
consequences.
law.
It's
But you subject
consequences
to the
coming with it.
law of the land. Once you accepted being a citizen, now
Boom.
you're subject to the law of the land.
So this is where the 14th Amendment comes into play, and a lot of people didn't pay no attention to it. We probably signed over what properties and lands that we did own to be a part of a union that didn't give two shits about us.
It never did.
No, but I mean, you have to say it in that aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I mean, I don't think people are looking at it from perspective. They looking at
No,
today's
they're not
time.
going to look at it, but I feel like that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. I'm with you. No, I'm
Okay.
saying that people that when they look at things, you look at it on a modern viewpoint. You don't see it as that you were here minding your own business, living your life, and boom, here comes a colonizer. You got colonized. And when you got colonized, you your lifestyle, your culture, your being was taken away from you. And you were given this false matrix of a life. And you don't understand, you don't understand being free. I liken it to this. When the guy was gonna turn on Neo, he said, just put me back in the matrix. He said, I won't remember anything. He said, I want to eat steak and potatoes. You know, you remember that part? And that's how people have become. They don't want the ugliness anymore. It's freedom is ugly. freedom is hard. You got to fight for it. You know what I'm
You have
saying?
to fight for it, and our ancestors did that. That's all they did. We keep acting
Right,
like we was a bunch of people working in the field
right.
and did nothing. When you go and study, you have to study. You have to study, and you will find out there's hundreds of rebellions that's going on,
Hundreds.
hundreds of wars
Yeah.
that's constantly going on. You
In
can't.
the United States, in the islands, in Central America, in South America, we were always rebelling.
We always fighting. So when you show a scene something like um, Roots, and then making it seem like we yes a boss, you might have some that grew up into that atmosphere, but no, no, no. We fought for what was ours. We was outgunned. That's basically what happened. We were just happened to be outgunned, and you know, it's kind of like you can't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Right.
And
I liken it to this. Let's say the colonizers came over and there was a city already, right?
hmm
So you're welcome into this city. If disease was comes with them, and
mm,
you kill a lot of the people off, strong people, fighters, thinkers, movers, and then you take the rest of them and you push them out of their houses and push them out of their city, out into the outskirts, out into the country. Then, of course, people that have been used to living in the city now become what? They become savages, if you will. They have no place, they have no structure because they've been pushed out of their structure. And
facts.
so now they have to live almost like runaways. You know what I'm saying? And so you've had a whole continent of people that have been displaced, and we've been
Still displaced.
displaced.
Still
Right?
displaced.
That's what I'm saying. We've been displaced, and we've never been reintegrated properly back into our country.
True.
And that's the problem. Because people, you don't know who you are. You don't know why. You when you talk about the word proud, it should be your face there, but you don't understand that. You got people that you got representing this country that were originally colonizers.
But I think what it gets is we have been taught so much that Africa, we got to go back to Africa, or you need to go back to Africa. You was from Africa.
Of course, that's the narrative to leave the land.
So for us to leave, I mean, and actually, that's what they were trying to do. They did to some part take people that were from this country and take us to Africa.
You're right, they did,
So
but
you did
those places never worked. You know why? Because those people were.
when they're putting up with it. You
But I'm saying they moved to Africa. I think what was the country? Liberia, and the country didn't work because those people are not native to Africa. They're native to the United States.
true
You
that,
know,
true.
and it's just it's amazing to me. Like me, I love Marcus Garvey. I love the whole putting black business together. But the one thing that I hated was the Back to Africa movement because that was not him. He was being forced into selling that to our people.
True that, true that. Especially if somebody gave him a boat and say, "Hey, this is what you do," or he bought the
But
boats.
but I
But
mean, he was using it. He was using the boat at first, like for business. You know what I'm saying? That's where the whole Black Star come from. That's what the boat was. It was the Black Star. But I'm telling you, government and power moves things. You don't understand, man.
no, no, can we just witness it? We're
Yeah,
part. We're going through it right now. They
right.
it's whatever they say goes. But for them to take, again, I'm not knocking people to celebrate Juneteenth. Understand what you study, understand what you're celebrating, because we have a tendency to make holidays out of anything and not understand who we are and what we were before colonization hit into play.
And if anybody has questions or comments, please feel free to drop your questions, to drop your comments. And we're gonna try to give you shots out as we see those things.
So, um, I mean, we can. I mean, like I said, it is a celebration of, I guess, a certain phase of freedom,
But you know what? For me, it's like this,
or
V.
let's say free liberty, just liberties.
For me, it's like this. If I'm celebrating Juneteenth, right? But what I'm celebrating is being freed from being a slave. Then the most important thing, or the biggest thing in that whole thing, is that we were slaves. You know what I'm saying? That's what you remember every time you celebrate it.
Mhm.
You remember you were slaves. So the
They,
craziness of it in your brain and how your brain processes things, that a little bit above slavery means that you're free. Because they stop putting the chains on you, stop abusing you from a slave standpoint, didn't mean that you were free. You had a miles to go to get back where you needed to be. But once we got free, that's when the Jim Crow things. Well, let me start before the Jim Crow thing. We started getting back to who we were when we started rebuilding what we had built prior. And
and that's
so,
where Reconstruction comes into
right,
play.
and so that's why they had to create Jim Crow laws, is because they seen once we were set free that we started acting free. And so when we started acting free,
We start changing things.
exactly.
So it's a fear attack. It's fear. It's always
Yes.
going to be fear. So again, we're at this point still. I mean, that's why I say I have mixed feelings. Like again, it's just me because we want to go out and celebrate, but then at the same time, we don't understand what we truly celebrating because it just says you're free from a certain oppression, but at the same time, they just found another way to put it on you. So
Right. Right. Right.
again, everybody have to understand the 14th Amendment. We gave up who we were as a people to the Western civilization, be part of the Western civilization or being part of this colonization that we know
You,
of
you know
today.
what it, you know what
United
it
States.
you know what it makes me think. It's like they took steel handcuffs, right? And they had
Hmm.
you handcuffed behind your back. They
Hmm.
said, you know what, we're gonna let you free. So they took the steel handcuffs off and moved your hands around to the front. But when they moved them around the front, they tied your hands together with silk cloth.
Ooh,
All you see is the silk cloth. It feels good, but you still don't understand that your hands are still bound.
ooh, and then they locked your mind. Your mind is gone.
You
They
you
is
you
basically
never let loose of that prisoner mentality. That's why when you walk into a store and somebody's looking at you, like, why they looking at me? Why you got that feeling? Because you got that prisoner mentality. You feel that you're being watched.
fact.
When you see a cop in the street, you think that cop is thinking about you. You still got a prisoner's mentality.
It's,
So
it's a fear. It's like
a cop, yeah,
a fear of you like something bad is going to happen.
right. And that's what they use to control you. They use fear to control you. That's why cops are intimidating to black people. That's why they act intimidating. That's why they do the things they do, because they have to uh, perpetuate this fear. Has to go forward if you're going to control a certain mass of people. You do it through fear. That's the only way that you can control masses of people. Um, and they use it opposite on our white compadres. They use the fear of the black man to control the actions of what they want them to do. So fear is always being used as a tactic of control. Um, if I mean without fear, if people had no fear, then they would operate in freedom.
Ooh,
But fear keeps you from operating in freedom.
that's that dude. That's that. I don't even know what it.
Did you just drop the mic on that?
No, because I mean that's real talk. Because you got us in fear.
Right,
You have the population in fear.
right. Everybody's in fear.
So we're not going to even get into that because we be talking about something totally different. And you know,
Right,
the puppet masters is going on to keep us fighting amongst one another,
right.
which has been going on since basically Jamestown. So we're
Yep.
looking at least the 1680s.
Oh yeah. It's been a long time.
So freedom ain't free. You have to fight for
True.
it. And our ancestors fought. They fought. They did their best.
They did.
They did their best. And they've been trying to tell us what's really real. And we happen to not want to hear it because it's not what's been taught in schools. Or where did you get that information from? Or my favorite is it's not in the Bible. So freedom ain't free. Your mind is not free until you unlock it, and unless you unlock it and throw away that key, you have to fill your brain up with just real knowledge and not just a bunch of BS. Um, to y'all who are celebrating Juneteenth, it's a step in the right direction for us as a
Right.
people.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to understand we signed our life away. Um, a lot of people sign their life away when they become American citizens and not understanding what comes with that.
Right.
Because now you under. I mean, look at is. I mean, I know this off topic. Fucking orange red dude made me pay attention to politics like never before.
That's a good
Thank
thing.
you, because Obama didn't. I was like, it good. Whatever the government do, they doing it for my best. Just doing it on my best. Fucking orange guy. Thank you for enlightening me to want to do something and talk about what's going on. No matter if you're going to say it's racist or racism, I hate people saying that racism doesn't exist. You just not opening your third eye and seeing what's truly going on.
You don't need a third eye to see that. You just in denial if you don't see that there's a system in place to keep one group under another. You don't see that, then you just in denial.
But you
You just
said something. But you said something is you tell us Juneteenth, and the key word of it is slavery.
yeah,
So when we do Black History Month, the first thing to start off with is slavery.
slavery. Right. And so any little bit above slavery, you can relax. Hey, we're good. We gave you a Obama. So, so just relax. Now you want rights.
No, because we say the first Africans came into Jamestown at 1623. slavery. They're still pushing that slave notion.
1619. Yeah.
Oh, did I say 16? What did I say? 1623? What the hell happened in 1623? I think it was a slave revolt. And no, I think it was the Indian revolt that happened in that time. Actually, I think it is the Indian. Our ancestors was like, "Yo, stop coming on." It's kind of like if you have a neighbor and you have a property and they keep
Yeah.
coming on your property, and you was like, "Yo, stay off of my property,"
Right.
and you keep coming on that property because you was like, "I want your property." That's
Right.
why I'm gonna keep coming on your property because I'm gonna slowly and find a way to take it from you, and
Exactly.
that's what it basically happens. Um, our patience got pushed. Our kindness of who we are as a people was abused.
Yeah.
You know,
Abused is a good word.
so I mean, let's close this out to understand. Study Abraham Lincoln, please. You have to really go into it. I think one time, I think we broke down what race he is. He's tribish, Native American, Europeanish. I think he's part Dutch. He wasn't pure white. They would consider him as the first colored president. You know, they say a lot of things, but he definitely wasn't against. He wasn't against abolishing slavery. I can go ahead and tell you that now. He did that as a political ploy to try to bring this country together. I mean, he did what he had to do.
Yep. You did that.
If you did, you had to be dirty. Some stuff Obama did, I didn't like. A lot of shit that Orange Face did, I didn't like. But at the same time, what can I do to change it other than push this information out? So, again, if you're celebrating Juneteenth, just understand the history about it and just don't be out there not knowing, you know, the knowledge behind it. That's all I got
Right.
to say. Know thyself, love yourself, believe in yourself.
Right.
So that's my last words. Go ahead and give me yours, Jerome.
Oh man, last word. I think it's okay to celebrate,
You know,
but it's
take
even
it.
better to understand. Um, if you want to know more about yourself, you got to look deeper in history. Um, you got to understand why people are trying to keep the history from you. Not why is the history so hard to find, but why are they trying to keep it from you?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a reasoning behind that. When you find that reason, it starts to elevate your mind, if you will. So my last words for tonight is keep digging, keep studying. If you have any questions or comments, drop them on here. We'll try to get back to you uh, with whatever answers that we can find too. But you know, like B says all the time, know yourself, and knowing yourself is actually looking for you. You got to look, and so y'all keep researching, y'all keep searching. Come back and tell us what you find.
Also, before we go off, my man's birthday is next weekend.
Uh,
Happy birthday. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you now just in case, because it probably could be your birthday weekend. Just in case we're not on, y'all.
no
Jerome's
doubt.
birthday is, what is it, 19th or the 20th?
23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
Oh, ass, 23rd. So,
Appreciate
I
that.
want to tell you happy birthday. You want to tell everybody that his birthday is next week. But we're
Appreciate
gonna keep pushing the notion. Give us some topics y'all want us to do some studying because we're gonna keep hitting the dark side of the. We're gonna hit the dark side of the United States, man.
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna keep digging and keep finding these bones. I don't know. Maybe the Smithsonian will start throwing shots at us. Who knows? So
that
we coming
would
for
be
you,
good.
buddies. But again, this is a three-headed monster, man. Another
Yes, sir.
podcast. Just want to say peace and love to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Stay together, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.